Okay, it's been about maybe 45 minutes, but you can see the dough that it's about double the size that it was. And it begins to push up against this cover in a typical bowl, so it's ready. And also another test of readiness is when you put your finger down, it doesn't spring back. And you can see it leaves the impression of the finger. So it's ready. So what we're going to do is punch it down. We're going to get all the air out of it. Now, you might ask, why, if your goal was to put air into it, are you going to take all the air out? Well, there's too much air in it now. The air will go right back in when it starts rising and it starts baking in the oven. So we're just going to punch it all out. And then, here's my... And then we'll scrape it around just to loosen it and put it back out on the counter. This is where we're going to work with it. Now the good thing about this is that once you learn how to do what you've just done here, just make dough, knead it, let it rise, and shape it. You can make anything. You can make, this is going to be pizza, but you can make bread. This can be bread dough for baguettes or bread or rolls or anything. It's the same basic recipe. So again, we don't want too much flour to be added here, but we're going to knead it just a little bit more to get the rest of the air out of it. Don't want too much flour, so you can feel the air coming out, kind of burping out of the dough. Okay, and that's what we're going to work with. Now, depending on what you're making, here's where we're going to make our pizza. I'm going to make it rectangular and put it into the oven. But this is a large batch of dough, so I'm going to divide this into 6 parts because I want to make smaller round pizzas. So I'll just kind of roughly divide it in 6 pieces of dough. And those will be our 6 pizzas. You can see it's beginning to stick, but that's all right. You can just loosen it like that with your spatula. Now we're gonna put the ones we're not working with over here and cover those in just a minute with a piece of plastic, and this will be the one we'll start working on to make our first pizza. Dust the top just a little bit, and you can begin by pressing it out like that all the way around, but that only works to a point. And then I like to use the roller here. Roll out from the center out to the edges, so you keep it round. That's the way to keep a round shape. From the center out, all the way around. And then if you want to, if you're as skillful as I am, you can begin to do what you see them do in the professional pizza places. Yeah, see that? And you can work it with your hands, which are clenched, and stretch it out a little bit more. And you just keep playing with it until you stretch it out nice and thin. So we've got it stretched out. It isn't perfectly round, to say the least. Actually, it's more like a rectangle. Yeah, we're making rectangle pizzas. And I have this that I'm going to put them on. We're going to slide the pizzas off of this onto the baking stone. So you need something like this. It's called a peel. They sell them at a baking store. And in order to keep the dough from sticking when we put it on, we're going to spread some cornmeal out like that.
Cookie sheet will work sometimes.
Yeah, you can use a cookie sheet or the bottom of a cookie sheet so that it's flat. It has to slide right off. So we're going to take this. It's all nicely stretched out. And once you get it on, you really don't want to work with it too much because it's going to stick, but you can spread it out a little bit and see, it's going to probably not stick. We're going to make 2 small pizzas. You can make 1 large one on a peel like this, but I'm going to make 2 because I want to make 2 different kinds of pizza. The first one we're going to make is a chicken Alfredo broccoli pizza. We'll begin, as with any pizza by just spreading olive oil. This is garlic oil. All over the dough. Just gives it a nice, if you like garlic. If you don't, you can just use olive oil. It'll make the crust nice and tender. We'll do it with both of them because we're going to add the toppings on both of the pizzas. All around. Even the edges of the crust, if you can get them. What you don't want to do is get any oil on the peel, because then they won't slide around. So, Alfredo pizza. I've made some Alfredo sauce, which is just some milk, thickened milk and cheese and garlic. And we're just going to spread it all over the top, except for the edges. We'll keep it away from the edges, just like we would on a tomato sauced pizza. So just spread it around all the way up until the edge of the crust. And then, oh, you know what? One thing we didn't do is kind of chop the broccoli, so we'll do that real quickly now. As much as you want. Just kind of spread it over. I did chop the chicken, but I'm going to do it just a little bit more. Ow! Oh! That joke doesn't work twice, does it? All right. Yeah, okay. Okay, so there's our chicken Alfredo pizza. A little bit more broccoli.
I was going to say more broccoli, more sauce.
More sauce.
No.
Okay, here we go.
Okay.
Now, we'll do this other one. We've already brushed it with oil, and now we're going to add our pastine ground tomato. That's our sauce. Don't add anything to it, just pastine ground tomatoes. And spread it, depending on how much sauce you like. I like it kind of medium, up to the edges, evenly as you can with a spoon. And then we're going to add our cheese blend all the way around the edges. I like to get the edges too. And then even it out. Now a couple of other touches here. First, some salt, because I find that cheese doesn't make it quite salty enough. Sprinkle some salt, and then some basil. Some dried basil. And then you can put on whatever toppings you like. This is going to be a meat lovers, so I have some chopped sirloin tip, which we can spread over, and then I have some bacon. And what else do I have? I have some sausage. I think I'm just going to stick with that. And we're ready to put it in the oven. Preheated the oven to 550. Here's our baking stone. And we're going to slide these off onto the stone very carefully. Perfect. Well, almost perfect. And here is the finished product. I tried to get a whole pie, but, you know, I mean, it goes so fast that this is all that's left over. Little meat lovers, little green pepper. Enjoy.